Welcome to episode 47. And mellow greetings to subscribers and new folk alike. Welcome. This is the third of three on the exhaust system. I aim to finish the exhaust by the time I've done this episode. We did a number of things. We were finishing off the brackets that were going to support the silencers. I need to clean up the centerpiece, which I now will use. I was originally going to bin that. Now I need to use that. Where the middle bit is a little bit knacked. Need to do that up. And I also promised that I would repack these little bullet silencers that I've got with fiberglass wadding, because they were a bit lacking in that, and when I had them on my Bonneville they were really loud. So I want to actually use these, but I need it to be as street legalish as can be, so I want to repack those with some wadding. So there's various bits arriving in the post, so I'm doing this over a few days. Not everything's arrived yet, but I'm getting through it all. So, okay, let's crack on with exhaust part 3. Right, before I start, I've turned these round. They're a bit more aesthetically pleasing. Do you remember I was chopping them off last time? What I've done, I've actually turned this round, so it looks a bit better, I think, because it kind of, that bolt's not in properly, but it kind of hides the bolts from the side. I've also got my black bolts. They've turned up. Yep, see that? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take these fellas off and paint them black. So in preparation for painting, I'm just going to take this off. These new replacement hex bolts are much easier to access than the originals. So pleased I've got them. So that's it. That's all me thing is. Ignore that bend. That's just to make it fit a little bit better. Right. So what I'm going to do then is, oops. There we go. All I'm going to do is take it to bits, clean up a little bit with some these edges with some wet and dry, and then paint them black. Good to go. Okay. So you can see these edges are a little bit rough and ready. So I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit with a bit of elbow grease. And a quick clean with a cloth soaked in white spirit. That's not a cloth, it's a piece of kitchen roll, but just to get any grease off. I've also moved to the gloves. Just going to make sure I don't want any grease on these at all. Otherwise the paint won't stick. Okay, as the going to get hot, those things, I'm using this barrel paint, ceramic barrel paint. It's the same thing I've used on everything else actually. And leave it to dry. Dangling. Right, a couple of things have occurred. I've given these a bit of a clean. You might see these are a bit cleaner than they were before. Not perfect, to be fair, but clean enough. I used a stainless steel cleaner, simple enough. Spray it on, wash it off. It's pretty good. And then I've also got these fellas out of the oven. I used, if you recall, some high temperature paint. I sprayed those up and I've given them half an hour in the oven just to bake it on, just to cure it, and yeah, I think those are pretty good. time now to reassemble. Oh, and as promised, I'm using black bolts now. I'm using hex bolts instead of the chrome ones, so that's good. Okay, one other small change from last time I spoke to you was that's how those things sat on there, if you recall. Took the effort to cut off these corners. But actually, when I've mounted it on the bike and rigged it up, you can clearly obviously see the screws, the mounting screws that go in there. So I have enhanced my design by simply turning that round and hiding the screws behind the plate. Work of genius, I know. So that's what I'll be putting together. Okay, so something like that, which is groovy. Okay, and then I shall just pop these on here. Put these on a little hand tight for now. Okay, now I've decided to keep this centerpiece. I need to give it some attention. Of course, originally I was going to throw it away or recycle it or whatever. But I've given it a bit of a clean up with some stainless steel cleaner, but it's still pretty ropey, needs more work. However, my actual concern is this breather pipe in the middle, because it's absolutely fused. Look at that, it's totally fused together. It's supposed to be stainless steel, this. So mega fused together. Look at these clamps. Clamps have completely split. Obviously been too tight, got hot, expanded beyond their limit. So anyway, I've ordered a new centerpiece and 2 new clamps from Motorworks. Well, I say new, they're actually second hand. And in my efforts to get this pipe off, I sprayed it with a bit of WD-40, and then I put my screwdriver in one of these little cracks to try and lever it, and actually this broke off there. So that way around. So yeah, so this was me just literally just going, let's get a bit of movement in there, and off it came. So new centre pipe ordered, but in the meantime I need to get this one off. So let's have a go at that. Bit of heat required, I think. Okay, so I've got it secured in my vise with some an old towel here just to prevent damage to the surface. I've changed my gloves for some better ones, and I'm going to give it a blast with the one of these. Here we go. See, there's been any difference at all? None. That is solid. That. That's coming off. Wow. Look at that. Yeah, that's sadly knacked. Look at that. See daylight through it. And that one's worse, I think. Look at that one. That should clean up nicely. This is just coming, look at that. I would say that had completely rotted through. Do you know what? It's still not coming off. Crikey. It still ain't coming off. More hammer time. Yay! Okay. Bit of cleaning up required, I think. Look at that. That's pretty brutal, isn't it? And that is, yeah, that's stainless steel. That's unbelievable how that's gone like that. Anyway, one of them and two of them ordered, and yeah, I'd feel bad having something like that on the bike, so need to replace it. I did actually consider just buying some stainless steel tube, making my own, but it's actually quite a special thing. It's a 32mm 1mm wall, and I actually couldn't find any on my quick look. So anyway, I've got the actual part coming from Motorworks, so that's me sorted. Clean up time. Okay, so it's a bit of wire brush and a bit of wet and dry, and you can see it's getting a bit better. Compare and contrast with that one. Still somewhere to go yet. Let's get that cleaned up. Okay, that's a better job. It's very heavily pitted, as you can see, so I'm never going to get it back to being smooth again. Well, if I did that, I'd take too much material out of it. So, but yeah, compare and contrast with the other one, much improved. Right, now it's time for number two. So, new one of those ordered, probably here tomorrow or day after, not quite sure. Anyway, I did promise you I would repack these, and this morning's post I've got some very shiny fiberglass matting. Right, let's crack on with that then. Right then, so there you go, nice thick. It's about, I don't know, let's say 5-10mm thick wadding. Plenty to do these two. So clearly I'm wearing gloves. I'll also wear a mask, so not much talking happening. First things first is I'll take the baffles out of these and then cut this to size. Hey, so there's the hang on, take the mask off. That's the extent of the stuff that's in. I can do a better job, I think, putting some more on. So let me just unwrap that first of all. Okay, I'll use this wire. Get rid of this bit, one sec. And I'll reuse the wire So just need to cut this now to size. One thing I'll say actually about this is you'll see this is just a empty tube, and clearly the middle bit is fatter than the entry point, so I'm going to pack this as tight as I can on here. Hopefully it'll expand a little bit when it gets inside. Right, let me cut that to size. So there. Okay. What do you think of that then? Right, let's try it down the hole, which is the right way around, that way. It's actually quite hard to do, actually. Aha. So I'm having to compress this as I push it in because it's kind of backing up on here. If I don't, some noisy old trucks going past today. Okay, and then line up me hole. Wow, didn't take long. One newly baffled thing. Right, one more to do. This is the one that I already took the old wadding out of earlier. So I just want to recover the wire. I was searching for that word then. Okay. There you go. Baffled. Well, they will sound a bit quieter. How much quieter, we'll find out when we get the thing fired up. But anyway, job done. Okay, great news. Postman's been and the replacement for my breathers turned up. Look at that. Marvellous. Can't beat the right part. However, colour-wise, oh hello. Colour-wise, it's I don't know if you can see that, it's actually very, very tarnished, etc. So I'll give them a bit of a clean up. Also picked up a couple of new well, new to me. This is actually second hand, but they look brand spanking new. Can you believe they're second hand? And there's the one it's replacing. So I'll get not those, but I'll get that cleaned up. I think I'll also clean up the original clamps as well, which need some cleaning up. So clean that up. I'm using this stuff. This is what I'm cleaning up with. It's in a trigger jobby. So yeah, clean those up, and then we can assemble this, put it back on the bike. Well, let me just recommend this, which came from Motorworks, because that looks like, wow, can you see that? So having been a different colour completely, it was almost orange, that's now a great match for that. Marvellous. These have also come up exceptionally well. Look at that. Although the bad news is, it isn't that one, it's that one. We've got some cracks. See that? So that is my actually main clamp off the silencer. So I will order a new one of those. That one's pretty good. That one's sound. That one needs a new one replacing. Sorry, replacing with a new one or a new old one. And I can't find my other one of these, which is around somewhere. But that's a shame. So I can't find one of those. I need to get another one of those as well. So, time then to reassemble this fella. Great news, I've found it. The missing link, and what is good as well is see how you can compare before and after. Yeah. Right. Give that a bit of a clean. Be right back. Genuinely impressed by that, gotta say, genuinely impressed. Look at that, it's brand new, isn't it? Right then, assembly time. Righty, so that's the front end of the bike, that end of the front, that's the back. So for reasons, or for no reason, I'm having the bolts at the front. So if I can pop that on there and that on there, and then I will, the header's already on the bike, so I'm going to go and fit those in place before I tighten those up, position them properly. But they will just unscrew a little bit and tighten over those like that. Yeah, but I'll do those when they're on the bike, just so I've got the right distance between these two and all that good stuff. So right, on the bike time. Right, not forgetting to put the these clamps on. Let me get this just on a little bit, both sides. Excellent. And then let's get these on. Now I should point out that there's a, you know when you're on far enough because there's a stop on the other side, which I'll actually show you now. One sec. Oops. There you go. So this is the welded on stopper that this goes up against. so you know how far on it goes. What I did do, I made sure the headers were really locked in tight. And there you go, I'd say that was pretty much spot on. So now I can tighten these up and we're good to go. Okay, not too tight because they'll bloody break, won't they, as we've spotted. Let's do the other side. Make sure that's parallel. There you go. Now what I've done is I'm keeping this now standard, and then both sets of pipes of silencers actually will come off the back of here. So that's good. I'll turn the one around the other side. Okay, let me just move this back a little bit. And there you go. Okay, the same hanger. We'll use that. So I'm liking that. That'll be its daytime garb. But for now, I will continue with this, which will be its street legal garb. The other one actually might be street legal as well, but it's actually possibly not. So we will stick with this one that we know is. There you go. And I'll just tighten these up. Okay, that's nice and tight. That's a 6. Yeah. That's nice and tight. There you go. That will do us for now. Well, there you go. Job done, or job almost done. Because I'm actually not overly happy with those hangers. I think they look a bit Heath Robinson. So I've actually got a Mark II and a Mark III version in process. You know what? The bolted thing together, it's not good. So as I've been doing it, I've actually learned quite a bit. So I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to use aluminium section, bigger piece than this. This was a prototype that I was building out of aluminium section. This is my final design, and it's made out of cardboard. Those of you who follow this will know I love cardboard models. So I am going to be making that out of aluminium, which will be a solid L-shaped aluminium bar, which aluminium bar, is it L-shaped a bar? Who knows? Anyway, I'll show you. One sec. Don't go away. Right, I'm back. So this stuff, yeah. I mean, I've got this is what I got to make the bracket for the number plate, which I'll do in another episode. I've got various sort of sizes of it. Anyway, I need some L-shaped section, easy for you to say, that's going to be that big. So as you can see, a fairly large piece of aluminium. Anyway, another time. I'll come back to that another time. But that's my final solution to the hangers that are on. But you know what? The ones that are on, they're functional. They don't stand out massively. Well, I don't think they do anyway. They you know, they'll get me roadworthy. So I'll stick with these until I've got these fellas done. Anyway, hope you liked it. If you did, click the like, share, subscribe, comments, questions, all those things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.